Have you ever asked yourself, do I actually have ADHD? Or am I just distracted because we live in such an overwhelming time? It is a question millions of people are asking right now. In our fast-paced, technology-driven world, short attention spans, disorganization, and impulsivity are becoming the norm rather than the exception. However, there's a profound difference between the distraction caused by our environment and the neurobiological reality of ADHD. To understand this, we need to look beyond the surface and understand how our brains actually function. First, let's address the modern context. We are consuming, on average, massive amounts of information every single day. Some studies suggest we process the equivalent of nearly 100,000 words daily. When you combine this digital overload with the ultra-processed foods that our brains were never designed to consume, and the chronic stress of modern life, it is no wonder we feel overwhelmed. Our brains are essentially being flooded with signals they cannot process, leading to a sense of brain fog that mimics the symptoms of ADHD. However, true ADHD is distinct. It is fundamentally genetic and neurobiological. It relates to the prefrontal cortex, the front third of your brain, which acts as the boss or executive center. This area is responsible for focus, judgment, planning, impulse control, and empathy. In someone with ADHD, this boss is often underactive or sleeping. They aren't just distracted by a smartphone. Their brain struggles to filter out unnecessary noise, be it the sound of a freeway or the tags on their clothing. Crucially, ADHD isn't just about a short attention span. It is a pattern of behavior over time. The fooler is that people with ADHD can often pay perfect attention to things they find novel, highly stimulating, or frightening. Why? Because these things provide an intrinsic dopamine hit, and for the ADHD brain, dopamine is key to focus. If you struggle to focus on homework or paperwork, but can spend hours on a hobby you love, you are experiencing that dopamine fluctuation. It's not a lack of willpower. It's a biological imbalance. This is where the conversation about diagnosis becomes complex. We see both overdiagnosis and underdiagnosis. We often label kids as ADHD simply because they are sleep-deprived from late-night screen time or living in chaotic environments. Conversely, many people, especially women, and those who aren't hyperactive, remain underdiagnosed because they don't fit the stereotypical image of a chaotic young boy. Because of lingering gender biases, we often overlook girls who are struggling silently, incorrectly, assuming they just aren't as capable, which is a major, irrational mistake. So, if you suspect you or a loved one has ADHD, what is the first step? It is not immediately rushing to medication. Before labeling it a medical condition, look at your lifestyle. Start with a digital detox and an elimination diet. Research has shown that for a significant percentage of people, especially children, symptoms of ADHD can be drastically reduced by removing gluten, dairy, corn, soy, and artificial dyes and sweeteners from their diet. Combine that with proper sleep hygiene, meaning no gadgets in the bedroom, and you might be surprised by how much ADHD clears up. Food and sleep are the foundations of brain health. If these issues persist after a month of disciplined, healthy living, then it is time to consider that it may indeed be a neurobiological condition that requires professional evaluation. Furthermore, we must understand that ADHD isn't just one type. It is a spectrum. Some people deal with classic hyperactivity, others struggle primarily with inattention. Some have overfocus types where the problem isn't concentration, but the inability to shift attention from one task to another. Others are anxious or limbic types where emotional regulation is the primary struggle. Knowing your specific type is essential because the wrong treatment can be a nightmare. For example, giving a stimulant to the wrong type of brain can lead to increased irritability or even aggression. Ultimately, strengthening your prefrontal cortex is critical to your humanity. It is the part of the brain that separates us from impulsive, animalistic behaviors. Never take its health for granted. Avoid head trauma, no soccer headers for children, no contact football, and be wary of the societal messages that promote alcohol or substance use as innocuous. These habits only serve to further dull the frontal lobes and increase the expression of ADHD symptoms. To wrap up, stop judging yourself for having ADHD moments. All of us do. But if these hallmarks, Short attention spans for routine tasks, chronic disorganization, procrastination, and poor impulse control have followed you for most of your life. Take it seriously. It is not a moral failing or a personality flaw. It is a brain function issue. By focusing on fundamental brain health, better nutrition, adequate sleep, and reducing external digital noise, you can take back control. The goal is not just to focus. It is to create a brain environment where you can truly thrive. Have a nice day!